Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning. Yeah, the flag's in a new spot, huh?
Good morning, everybody. Okay, we'll go into the board minutes.
There's one thing on the paragraph where Brad was telling Paul about the 12 inches. It didn't have to be 12 inches. Like the way I read that, it was almost, I thought it was backwards
On the Learman one,
on the letter. It should have been 12 inches was the minimum that you want this time, shouldn't it have been?
So, I think it says, actually says within 12 inches, so Brad was right on the fact that,
Within 12 inches.
within 12 inches.
And the way I read it was in the minutes. Maybe I'm wrong. But
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was the other way.
Paul was thinking it had to be at least, but yeah, Brad said within, and I think.
But you didn't want it below a foot of pitch.
Yeah, it's, you're right.
And Paul was saying it should have been
At
at
least.
yeah, it should be within. Yeah, I see what it is.
Yeah, Brad was just within, yeah, Paul was.
So we could just look at that.
Remember what paragraph that was in?
Should be right off the start there.
And I can see Paul's point too, in past years, you want that free board, but this year you guys gotta monitor it so close.
But if we get a lot of rain, like we were just
Yeah.
talking before, I mean, then we could
You go either way.
right in the flood.
Yeah, I mean, we're right at that where it could,
Yeah.
we could be going over. We're supposed to start getting weather. Looking at it coming off the coast and that, it looks a couple days, it's gonna be here. It looks like it, but weird how it hitting all around.
Well, then Todd Blythe said it's gonna be supposedly below, wasn't he saying below normal precipitation?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Okay. Explained that he understood what point Cawthon was trying to make on behalf of the Central Hydro LLC. However, he wanted to clarify the FERC requirement for the commission. The FERC requirement stating that the reservoir must be 1 foot below the crest on May 31st was meant to protect the fish populations. How do you want me to
You
phrase it?
could,
It should be.
And
within-
what
within
Must
one
be
foot.
within 1 foot.
Remember what's his face said? He said it doesn't, it can be above it. It doesn't have to be
So,
at it.
so
Yes.
within.
So he was scamming us.
Within,
I mean, he was actually telling us it had to be there, but we could be above it.
No, we can
So,
be
yeah.
I don't know,
within.
Yeah, I think that's understandable.
I know.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I apologize, Paul, if you're listening.
within 12 inches of the crest.
Okay, so do I have a motion on them on that? Clarification.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? Ian's none, all in favor? Aye, motion been carried and passed. We'll move on to correspondence. The first one is from Tom Crawford, Red Lion Road. Have you guys read this stuff
Yeah.
on this? Cause I don't wanna.
Oh, yeah, I read it.
I
Yeah.
attached your
I don't
email
think-
to that correspondence.
think we'll get into this.
I'm just gonna tell you what he said he did up there. Would you like to know that?
Yeah.
Mr. Crawford did admit he plowed adjacent to his property, and we told him there last year, I told him like probably 3 times in that one meeting, you have to have a permit or a written agreement. So, they let the sheriff's office know. I don't know that it's unreasonably dangerous what he did there, but he knows he's supposed to come in and
Get it.
talk to the commission is not, so just letting you know, there's a potentially agenda item for next week, and, folks wanted to come in and chat with you, so there could be an agenda item next week.
Okay, thanks, Glenn.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cause this could end up being
I didn't sign it. I keep getting to do it.
some upset people. So that's why I didn't really want to say much on the. All right, the next one is from the DOA LGSB portal registration. This is an annual financial report for Granite County, 6/30/2020 has been received and accepted by our department.
And this is a good thing because it was late. It's supposed to be in on December 31st, and our annual financial reporter, what's her name? Brain dead. Yeah,
This is a letter on, the next one is a letter saying who is gonna on the code MCA 52402. This is a appoint a new member of the legislature. That way.
Yes. Now it's in the hands of the Democratic parties here in the local areas to nominate, and then the commission, once they do 15 days, everyone to vote.
The way I read that now,
Here's the
I was
other part.
confused. Is it just us?
no,
Because he lives here? How do you read that vote?
No, the statute says that it's,
That's the other second
the
half.
4 county commissions will vote. Anaconda Deer Lodge has 60% because that was the percentage of the vote in that last election. We have like
16% or something.
16,
Mhm.
Hal 9, so,
But even so, I think because we do have a central committee, a Democratic Central Committee, they need to submit to us, and then we submit to whomever our pick too, and then all the counties will
all of them
decide.
should- that are
This-
nominated should be up, yeah.
This is what you were explaining
Yeah.
earlier. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the Central Committee in Granite County will submit to us their choices. Then Deer Lodge, Anaconda Deer Lodge will, and Butte, Silver Bowl, and Powell has a tiny little bit of,
Yes.
so then it'll go, all these counties will decide. So I think maybe we'll get a little preference because he was in Granite.
That's the way I
County.
thought it was originally, but then I read that over and over. It said because he lives in Granite County, it was almost like it was up to us. The others could submit their thing, but that was up to us for the decision.
The statute's pretty clear on it that they all get a vote, so if it implied that, it would be incorrect.
That's what I thought.
Okay. All right, that's that's the last of the correspondence. Any public comment on the correspondence? Being none, we'll move on to
One
public.
thing I'd say is that'd be an agenda item once you nominate and vote, so yeah, it'd be on the agenda.
But they bring it to us.
Yeah,
So the Central Committee they have a time frame to get it to us, correct?
correct. I think it's 45 days from that, where they receive the notice. Yeah.
I don't see how that's gonna work, because everybody could, it could be a big fight on that, because we could go one way, Powell another way, and Deer Lodge
Yeah.
another way.
Depends on who has a majority
Anaconda
vote.
Deer Lodge is 60%, they're gonna
Yeah.
control the way around it.
We're gonna move right into public comment. You're all right. But yeah, I agree with you, Chuck. Any public comment? Yeah, I can see where that can be a big turmoil.
I don't think that's right, because then why are we even selecting anybody? Because they can get anybody they want. I mean, so they're gonna control the whole thing, so the other counties and everything is like, why not?
By statute, we gotta talk to our representatives.
And And that's the way the vote is too. That's why
Yeah,
Granite County is because we're majority Republican is not, never, the Republican never picked in office because
Oh, yeah.
Anaconda Deer Lodge is Democrat and so is Butte Silver Bowl. A lot of Mohawk is, but I mean, that's just one of those things.
Any public comment?
one thing I do need to, research is when the election, it appears that there's actually, that goes on the election in November. So I think the vote will only be for a short period of time for the person appointed. But it does give them a huge advantage if they're,
I thought it was,
They're
they
for it.
fill out the full term.
no, it's, I believe it's, November, but I'll double check that. Yeah.
I was always thinking they just.
Yeah, so it's something about the next election. If you're a vacancy and if there's an election, which it's a time frame that we can fit into getting somebody
Yeah.
on, getting it on the ballot, then they will only finish the term that was, like, for example, if there was only 2 years left or a year left, then we'd have to do it again in the next cycle. They would just finish Mark's term is all they finished. They wouldn't have a full term.
Yeah, for sure that.
Yeah.
And I think potentially that there's an election November and then that person then go to the legislature next year.
Yeah, and would
I mean,
finish
yeah.
Mark's
Yeah.
term.
The one voted upon in
Yeah.
November. But I'll double check that.
I wonder if we want to make note if anybody wants to raise their hand, if they can hear us okay.
Does anybody, everybody hear us who's on? If you can, would you raise your hand?
This one,
The only one that's on is Elena.
Using that mic today because we have three
Can you hear us, Elena?
like, which might work.
try and have Claudette get on if you'd like.
Yeah,
If she's here.
yeah.
Yeah.
That looks like they're doing lots of crack sealing from
Oh,
Hoffman's on up.
and then they'll lay that chip seal over it,
Well, okay.
6 inches.
Are they gonna do the same for Drummond up or just right here?
Where they're working.
And they're gonna put a middle rumble thing in there. I hate those middle rumble things. Like, ooh.
Good.
Did you get a haircut?
I did, a little bit.
Ew.
It could be
Time of
summer.
season, yeah. Season. Mine are free.
Yeah.
I cut my son's hair. It was so dicey, but I'm
No,
like,
you'll get better, you'll get better. Hopefully I get made fun of.
wear a hat. You're a boy.
Hey, Paul, did you see this
Oh, I didn't send that. to him.
Yeah, Red Lion.
red line? You talked about?
Did you get all them
Oh.
emails?
Actually, huh?
Them emails on that Red
I
Lion?
did get the email, yeah.
So he had, plowing for ways there. Last year told 3 times he's gotta come in and get permit or written agreement.
He knows better, so I don't know why he did it.
They're probably gonna be,
The, sheriff's office in Vince. I turned it over to Lewis Smith, said, I'm a witness, I told him 3 times, not to. Without permit.
well, just, why would you do it? Any public comment? All right, we're gonna move on to the bid openings for dozers and excavators with operators for periodic work throughout the calendar year. Discussion decision, award of bid. We didn't get no more bids, so we'll just accept the bid that we've already accepted and move on with that. And then if we have work, then we'll go from there, see.
So if it would be something that Granite County would then lease the equipment, is that what the case would be? Because we haven't gotten a bid from anyone in the community,
We got one bid.
For a dozer.
For the dozer,
yeah.
but for the excavator.
Yeah.
Have
We,
to
okay,
lease it out.
they snooze, they lose, right?
It's, you know, in the
Maybe
meantime.
we put it
people
in for longer.
Still, and then I think you still have people submit things if they wanted to, but
Yeah.
yeah, if no one does before then.
So I'd take a motion on that.
How would we word that?
What do you think?
Decision on that. Just want to make a motion that we accept the bid that we got and we'll move on.
I think you already,
You already
I think you already did.
did.
You may want to just talk about now that you would, any equipment you couldn't get, you would lease, look at leasing.
Want a motion for that?
So there's no decision for award of bid.
Nope.
So we have one bid and that's for the dozer,
You've already accepted that.
and we accepted that.
I'll make the motion that if we get an excavator, we fix one.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
There you go. That was it.
Where the outfits around the lease, the place in Butte, Missouri.
We would just get one from Cat.
Yeah.
Or depending on what availability it is, you know.
So everyone's busy, huh?
Everybody's busy, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on around here. Everywhere you look.
Have you stopped on Highway 1?
No, it's, I was up on this end of the
Oh,
valley,
okay,
so,
I missed it.
no, that'll be when I leave here.
Yeah. That's good, you get to the highway.
Can you hear us, Claudette?
She's just getting connected.
Oh.
She could just raise her hand, couldn't she?
I'll just send her another. Oh, Sean, you go.
She can hear.
You can hear? Oh.
Thank you, Claudette.
I didn't see your hand. What did she do?
Catch Blaine.
She must not want on,
Hey.
on the public record.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Claudette.
Thanks, Claudette. Oh, we didn't see your cute little hand.
All right, we're gonna, couple minutes early, but move right into Road and Bridge Weekly Report. Superintendent Paul's here. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, we got a few issues. One, we're gonna start next week out at Ross's Fork. We're blading on there right now. But we'll start hauling some of that gravel and fixing a few parts of that road. We talked about that a few weeks ago, getting some material right there from Robin on the side of the hill. And just fix some soft spots in there. And then another place we're gonna have to haul some gravel is up on Echo Lake Road. You know, when you get up past the houses and that whole road is basically just built on a corduroy. Well, there's a couple culverts that are just about to the surface. And we just need to put some material over the top of probably 10 loads or so. But I'm thinking we'll just get the material from at the lake, from McLean's pit, because it's right there. It's just way closer, so. That's,
So get run or?
no, it's crushed.
Oh,
Yeah, it's crushed, 3/4 minus.
Have you talked to him about getting it, or waiting to see?
No, I just have to call him. I got the combination to his gate. We just gotta take a loader up to load it. Just wait, it just makes sense. Just way closer. So. We got a couple culverts we gotta get changed. Then we'll be going back down to Rock Creek, the bus route. It's by the ranch, Rock Creek out there. It's pretty rough. And then to Willow Creek on this end of the valley. And then again. But that's kind of what's going on. Finishing, we had to move some more of them stuff out of Palos Pond down there. The kid wasn't happy with it, wasn't clean enough for him, so we dug some more out of there. But pretty much do what they want to get signed off. It's just going to be a big problem. So that's what we're doing.
They got a lot out there yesterday.
Yeah,
Wow,
they should finish it today
good.
what are you doing with that stuff?
and just dumping it down by the haul shop. And we'll just use it for bed and stuff or whatever, you know. But
So we have an agreement with McLean, then we can just use that?
the gravel, he sells it to anybody. Anybody that wants to buy it, yeah. He just gives them the combination and he's probably got 10,000 yards up there.
So the bidding process is not necessary then, you just go get it from him?
Yeah. We were getting a dozen dump truck loads, you know. So.
So does he stay the same price as everybody else, or does he have a quoted price to us that we know?
It'll be, last time I bought it from him, it was $12 a yard. You know, it might be $13, but
Do we need a motion on that?
We can, I don't know, I guess it could, but we've never had it before. We just, cause it isn't like we're getting 100,000 yards, it's just a little bit to fix stuff.
only time we've ever bid it before is if we're getting 1,000 yards or something.
Like for the road, Forest Service road during the summer, you're gonna need to bid that, or we county getting the materials on that?
Well, we wouldn't really have to. I mean, we could when we get that far, but we're doing all the in-house trucking and everything, so I don't know.
Okay, just enlighten me a little bit. When we put it out for bid for gravel, people submit what they'll sell gravel for us, and they go on a list, and then we go from that list, and the list, is he on the list where he's closer, or do we have to get it from somebody that has actually put a bid in?
Only time we've ever bid gravel is like we're gonna get 1,000 yards of gravel, and then we have that in there, and what would the cost be to deliver it to Phillipsburg to our yard, or to haul to our yard there? And we purchased that whole 1,000 yards all at once. We'd never have bid for going to pick up 5 loads here or 10 loads there. It's only when we're doing a big project like that.
So right now you don't, there's no bids out, there's no list right now, but then you're saying, say you get a big need.
Any public comment on this?
And quite frankly, at $5.50 fuel, you better get it at the closest place. You know what I mean? It's just,
Claudette says she couldn't hear you. Sorry.
all over the place.
It's still going up too. Price of fuel.
Crazy.
No, she can't hear.
She said she couldn't hear Paul.
Oh, scoot closer, please.
Use that booming voice, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Other than that, that's about all I got.
Rick Lacy called and said, thank you, good job.
Thanks.
For what?
Put in that culvert that we were gonna put in down there on the Mullen Road. They got it done Monday. He was really happy. Good job. Just wanted me to pass it on.
I just fill you in, Saturday we went to this. Good damn. thing. And,
Thank you, Bill, Becky, Billy, Becky, whatever your name is.
And so you guys are aware, I mean, the road crew has a big part in that, if there was a flood or something. But there wasn't anybody there, so we kind of had to fill in, like me. And,
Okay.
but anyway,
Had a deal up there
uh,
at the dam.
yeah, it was an emergency for the dam, it broke, in this case, it did break.
Saying is we should have had a
But it
representative.
was kind of, a good deal, because it got you thinking, it got me thinking, beyond where it's, and the things, that everybody has a part, so you guys had a pretty big part in that.
Should probably go. Should go next time then.
Actually, this was, we're gonna discuss during the closed session, I thought.
I didn't know it was closed, sorry.
Well, he's gonna be in a closed session,
Well, yeah,
and that was to be addressed in the closed session.
I don't think that,
Hmm?
I don't think this constitutes a closed session.
Well, we're asking him why he didn't go.
Didn't think I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, close it.
You weren't advised by Jackie?
you,
There you go. Yeah, sometimes you just have to wake up
Ken?
your screen.
no, I was asking you. All right, we're back on. We were in closed session. We're back with, Brandon Parrott Dam Tenders Report, Georgetown Lake Outflow and Decision. I have the report here from Brandon. The lake came up. We're at 64, 28, 92, 6.96 inches. Said I have a report from Brandon. It all looks good. We've gone to 30 on the 15th. So they're just gonna be playing it, see what Mother Nature does now. I mean, so I'd entertain a motion on leave as, or
I'll move to stay at 30.
I'll second.
any public comment on this? This what frustrates me is there's so many people involved in this, but we don't get, I mean, they know that we're up in at 30, but there should be support and stuff here that, because then when something goes bad, then that whole thing's gonna light up.
Well, that's why they don't do it. Something might go bad.
But I mean, it's just, that's what I'm, the local, the ranchers, the homeowners, everybody. This is the time of the year that we really need to be in touch with each other. Fish and game, where are they?
One thing I want to reiterate is you guys can make the decisions on your policy day by day, because some of these days it may be when you have a lot of inflows coming in and trying to avoid running it over the spillway, and that was the policy, but you get points where
So,
can't,
so
can't
during the
predict the
week,
weather.
say if we have a flood and we can't get hold of Scott, Lance and I
Mm-hmm.
can decide, well, no, we're gonna let out more, we're gonna open up the gate valve.
Yep.
We're working with 40 on.
Well, I think that, I think I'll double check that policy, but I think it, yeah, it says you can get together and. is it
I thought we-
They're emergency decisions.
I thought
That's
we
what the
made a
default law is
policy
anyway.
for that, just
Yeah.
in case something happened, that if, so we didn't wait for week to week in case something, I thought we
So-
had something.
Yeah, there's a written policy in place, and it's to try to also avoid going over the spillway, because they didn't want to get it too high, because then they had issues.
Question. So being Brandon is working for the city, is he still gonna be going up there and checking
He said he
on a
would,
daily basis?
or when, he was gonna go up when he was supposed to.
Weekly, I don't think of
Well, I
that.
know, but it might be daily when it gets draining, you have to check it.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be daily.
Well, we'd have to talk, maybe run the third morning.
So on the any public comment on the motion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion been carried and passed. We can let him know and talk to him about that too, that if, cause he said he'd work with us,
Yeah.
that if something come up, we'd give him heads up and run up in the evening or
If
in the
it's ready,
morning.
I can run away.
Look
Yeah,
and
so
see.
if it's raining, he's gonna wanna check. If it's not raining, then
No,
it's
just
okay.
rain.
Yeah.
Morning.
Cause it's still gonna take a lot.
My brace. Your hair.
Well, thank you. Whole plate.
Are you trying to butter us up, Missy?
That's what my husband said. I have to do that because I'm such a horrible person
Do you
now.
get along?
Mm-hmm.
She makes the
She likes
best
Scott
cookies.
Martin.
They're so good. She makes the best cookies.
Snickerdoodle?
Oh my God,
That's
they're
good.
so
I wouldn't have said it.
They're so good. Due to the fact that you only can have liquid.
Blaine,
stuff, right?
Snickerdoodle?
I got one, thanks.
Billy can't.
I can't, but I eat a lot of her,
Braces.
I've had a lot of her baked good.
So we still have 5 minutes on the dam, if there's any public comment on the dam. The water,
What did you say the lake level was right now?
6428.92 feet, 6.96 inches below global.
they said Lower Willow Creek was going over, what's
Oh,
going
really?
over the spillway. That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, that's what I thought. You look in Boulder Creek, it's down,
It's what?
down.
Is it?
Yeah, Flint Creek's way down. I mean, this is gonna start helping. Flint
Get the
Creek will
warmer weather, start.
get these banks absorbed. That's a big
Yeah.
thing to start, you know. There ain't a lot of water in Clark Fork.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of water anywhere.
Oh, do you wanna go, did we do the bid opening for the? Oh, never mind, I thought we were on.
Did we get any for that park then?
No, I was gonna ask if you got any. I was hoping you had one.
What's going on there? Huh?
Maybe you and I can combine forces and design it.
Didn't get no bid.
I know an architect, but he moved to Canada.
Maybe we can reach
I
out.
went to architecture. I dropped out my second year. Switched majors.
So you don't have a little sticker.
No, I should not design it.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the 10 o'clock one. We're like 1 minute ahead. Bid opening request for qualification for architect for county building capital projects, discussion, decision, award of bid. We didn't get it.
Nope.
That's not good. So, guess we'll put it back out and
we had, reached out to MSU Architecture School and they were gonna get back to us. That was a couple weeks ago. I can follow up with them. And then there's the other, Robertson
It's something like
that, was doing the, fire hall and Drummond. He's swamped. So, I mean, those are potentially two options once they're have the time.
I guess we just put it back up, leave it on the, hope maybe somebody will apply or whatever they do.
So do we have to have an architect on board before we do anything? I
Well,
mean, do we have to have someone contracted to be Granite County's architect?
I think on it being a historical building
Yeah.
and that we have to.
we need the plan stamped
Yeah,
and, it just needs some modifications to what we have currently, but,
So we still have that one that the other guy did.
yeah, A&E did that. That was so complex on what they did, the specifications, it just turned off prospective contractors.
kind
So
of
this-
blew it out.
Thought was to get it simplified, and that's what, why we got the referral for Mr. Robertson, because he does a good job of keeping the plan simple, and so,
I guess we could reach out some more and just
Yeah.
keep begging, hopefully something will come upon, I don't know what else you do.
I'll
So
reach
that
out to
ARPA
him.
money, that's not gonna go away. It can't go away.
Well, yeah, I can if it's not
Yeah,
used, but we have
I
a,
think my grinders over there, we have till 2026.
so we have some time, but
Don't wanna
time
wait-
goes quickly.
Don't wanna wait till the last minute.
Yeah,
I think leave it back on and just put it out there. Do we put it in that? Isn't there something you put it in that goes all over?
but yeah, if you wanna advertise it in there for 2 more weeks,
I think we have to, don't you guys? We don't have no choice.
so not in the newspaper, but on Montana Bids, or, okay,
I'd throw,
and then,
I'd throw it in the paper again, just what papers. I just think we better keep something
And then-
going, somebody might happen to say, oh,
Uh,
hey, I got.
I think doing the local newspaper, I don't think anyone's
Yeah.
looking,
No,
I
I
think
mean,
it's
in like
but
the
the
bigger
mo-
papers.
oh. I think the Montana Bids would be the best place
Okay.
for them to see it. Like, do it in there for like 3 weeks and have it back on the agenda in 3 weeks.
Sounds good.
That sound good?
You making that motion?
You know, I made that motion.
Second it. Any public comment on this? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried
So-
and passed.
Be back on in,
3 weeks.
June 7th?
Yep.
All right. At 10 o'clock?
That works.
All right. I think we all went in the wrong profession. We should have become architects, I guess.
Right, or engineers.
Or engineers. Yeah, it's frustrating. You have the funds set aside for it and
Can't
can't find.
anybody do it.
I'm trying to think if I know any architects when I was in school.
Yeah, reach out to
I
them.
know who my friends was. I know some, but I don't know. They're engineers.
Well.
Oh, I do know an architect. I know an architect in Coeur d'Alene. Not that far away.
Yeah, reach out. I think, more, if
That's great.
Yeah.
Have any architects that could work on stuff like
I
that?
can, I'll glad to.
I will email her. She was the rep in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, good. That's what they're there for.
I really like your.
Yeah, very good. Wow.
It is so cute.
We'll be a few minutes early, but you can come on up, Barbara.
Now, does an architect have to have like a certification for Montana?
Yes, to stamp.
You know anybody?
I do, that, a neighbor of ours, but it's her fiance, and they live in Augusta, but I think he works remotely, and his certification is probably Pennsylvania. And I think they both had historical. She's running a cafe at the time.
We can look into it, yeah, see if they can,
Send 'em our way.
yeah.
Is the RFP online?
Where do you have it?
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna redo it, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
No, that'd be great. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be gone for a week, so take your time and I'll make
Okay.
a note. But yeah, I know her fiance is here. He's working remotely, but who knows?
That would be great.
They may know of someone that could, yeah, they could refer us to. If they
Well, just more we get it out, maybe we'll get somebody
Very, yeah.
I
it's-
smell that
oh,
too.
yeah, with
It's
historical
diesel
buildings, it
working
might
on
be
the
a
roof.
little different.
Oops.
working on the roof.
Yeah, those stairs from the jury area to this, whatever floor it was, like, wow.
Yeah.
I was on that jury last Thursday.
Thanks for doing it.
Wow, well, you were really very on the spot, very good, very,
Thanks. Yeah, that was one with the jail. Yeah, but they're just deciding if there was death by criminal means or not. And, yeah, wasn't. But, so yeah, thanks for
very
being on here.
thorough, yeah, I expected an hour or two, but I was looking for. But the best part was the cookies. I took the meat off the sandwich and ate cookies. Did you always want a dessert from?
Yeah,
I agree.
life's uncertain, right?
All right.
I heard
Yeah.
super busy. Kristen is our program manager, so thank goodness. And Gina she hears about all these different things around town and people come in and talk to her. So they make a wonderful team. Leslie is a great backup because she, does a lot of the infrastructure, putting books away and reorganizing and everything. So it's a good threesome. It's gained popularity and the library, I would say, since January, since COVID and things are kind of loosening up. And I've noticed, because I work Fridays from noon to 5, that the tourists are coming in. Last Friday was pretty quiet, but Friday before I bet I had 15 tourists. They're from all over the United States. I love seeing people. And I know some of you are not happy with that.
Sure
but-
fixed it up nice in there.
It is really
Very
nice,
nice.
yes, and that's one of our, you can read through some of the, with the basement, the brewery is going to be building their own building down, near Sunshine Station, so they're gonna be moving out, so we'll be, as soon as Kathy knows when they're gonna move. I told her I'd love 60 days to advertise, but she doesn't think we'll have trouble. The basement is not ADA accessible, so we really can't use it for our programs as much. We may be able to use it for some meeting space part of it, but
It's nice down there.
it's okay. Yeah, it has a bathroom.
Yeah, I was down there. I got the
That's a component.
tour of the whole building. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to me, the basement is a place that you're not gonna sit and daydream or look outside.
No.
You're gonna get down to business, but the brewery's been wonderful renters for the last 3
Good.
years. The studio, the renter, I'm gonna be speaking with her at the beginning of June. Her lease is up on June 30th. I did a 6-month because, I just wanted to be very cautious. The building belongs to, you guys, and I always wanna make sure who we have there to rent is, an adequate renter. And then the multipurpose cafe room is used all the time with, I don't think probably a day goes by, that someone isn't back there, whether it's a program or speaker or a group teaching someone, or, sometimes on Fridays they'll have someone come in and they need to do a Zoom meeting, so they need to have some privacy or they don't want to disturb other people in the library. So it's a wonderful space back there.
Is that rented for a fee or is that just,
No, it's just a use.
good.
Yeah, I think public
Yeah.
use, we try to keep
Yeah.
things free. And then Gene is always out there pounding about grants. We had $7,000 from Headwaters. And this year it's paid for a lot of programs and to offset some of the wages because we do have only, 48,500 is basically what we get from the levy. And with increased, like with Kristen and programs and things, we're kind of edging out from that budget, so it's good that Gina can access a grant. Then the Healthy Granite Network, I think that was an interesting, we got a laptop and hotspot, and it's for behavioral health workforce education and training. So I think Katie Muley might be involved. Or no,
Kayla
Kayla
Sanders. That's
Maybe
the one
involved.
through MSU, right?
I think so.
Where's your greenhouse at?
The greenhouse is, the courtyard is just beyond the courtyard.
It is
So
right
I saw like a load of dirt there with the starting up,
Yeah.
that kind of
I
thing.
just,
What's nice is, as we go down further, the Pilcro is a children's grant. She accessed Blackfoot. That's usually about $1,000 or $2,000. Oculus virtual headset. You try to reach a different
Yeah,
group, and that's teenagers, you know, get
yeah,
it.
they love it.
And then Town Pump, we've got grants, reading grants from them before, but as you read down, we have book club, Sit and Fit, which I go to. It's a nice class with Katie, and then there's another gal, Linda Van Dyke, who teaches it. Herbal classes. Eve Farwell, or no, Mary Ferrari and Anita Imishu, they're working on the summer program, and Mary Ferrari she is probably the greenhouse expert. I think she is really good at organic and gardening and stuff. So that'll be fun for the kids. And then those are going to be Bugs on the Move. That's part of the summer program. Sue Sweeney, I know her husband passed away, so I'm not sure what's going to go on with her coding camp. I have to see. And Spectrum, Spectrum has free science kits. There's a thing called Wired Montana. I signed up for it, and I probably get about 5 or 6 emails a day. Gina did for a while, but it's so many emails, she can't wade through them. She only works 18 hours a week. So I get them, read through them, and forward them to her if I feel they're going to be a good idea. So that was part of that Wired Montana. Let's see. And then we have some miscellaneous where we still have the hotspots, which become even more popular in the summer with people that are here just temporarily. Blackfoot E-rate with $1,800 offset our phone and internet costs. Imagination Library is still available, and Gina and I went to the Broad Valley retreat in early March, and it had some good speakers on various things. So, have any questions?
Where was the retreat at?
It was
I didn't
actually in
mean that.
Anaconda
Oh,
at
Anaconda.
Forge.
Oh,
It
okay.
was
I
really
didn't mean to
nice.
sign that.
Mhm.
I didn't mean to sign that.
And then just as an extra, I'm kind of the Mako insurance that you guys have. I'm the contact person. So I provided a new list of assets. She sent me something for a chart. Hadn't looked into the Secretary of State filing for audit, so it was different. Yeah, that's not something you guys, it's something separate that we pay.
All
It's
right.
like $400.
And and the county pays one, the liability, right, and you guys
Right,
pay
and
it back
then
when
you
it
bill
comes,
us.
all right,
Yes.
they've been billing it, good deal.
But she knows how to contact.
Okay.
So,
Thanks for doing that.
yeah, oh yeah, I love spreadsheets.
I was at a functional exercise for emergency planning in case the dam was to breach on Saturday, and I kind of signed up the library for something.
Good.
And I'm gonna connect you with Erin Helm from Red Cross. I think she's gonna be in town maybe this week. She comes out of Missoula. But we were talking about kind of something you and I had talked about the library being a great shelter or a great informational place. And she was saying they were looking for a spot too in the area, maybe where they could store like 4 or 5 cots. And I was thinking potentially in our basement. So she's gonna try to connect with you. So I'm gonna
call you on tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm headed to California.
At some point, we will all connect.
Please do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I was gonna be here, but yes, we really want to be central, and I want to go to the disaster
Yeah,
meeting with,
with Jackie.
LE-
and the
LEPC.
Yep. And
but I haven't,
all
I
of that.
haven't done that.
I will get all of the stuff.
I know,
connected.
that's why I like that Billy's on the board, see, she'll round everything out. Excellent, no, tell that gal I really would like to speak with her sometime.
Somebody on? Oh, I thought you seen the hand. I was like, I didn't. Is there any public comment on the Phillipsburg Library? Or any questions? Nope. Doing a good job. Beautiful
Yeah,
down there.
thanks
Thank
for all your
you.
work on the library.
Well, I figured it was better to come today than this summer, because people get kind of unwieldy in the summer.
What are you saying?
In the summer, yeah, well, I'm gonna be gone for 6 weeks, so.
Oh.
All right, yeah.
Yeah,
Have a
Well,
good
have
trip.
fun.
and then I'm gone in June, yeah.
No. Well, thank you
good
very
summer.
much.
Part-time person here. Enjoy
Thank
the-
you.
All right.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah, have a good day.
All right, so, yeah.
Thanks for the cookies too.
Did you want me to? I guess I'll start looking through a couple minutes early on the claims. So, did you want me to, have you got them pieces, or do you guys want to look at
I
these
have,
first and then?
Did you want, because you have to sign them?
That's what I didn't know we'd take.
Yeah. Do you want me to hand them to him?
Please.
I love it. She makes baked goods for every one of our library board meetings, and she changes it every month.
Yeah.
She makes baked goods for every one of our library meetings, and she changes whatever it is every month.
We moved on to claims. We're 5 minutes early, but if there's any comments on the Phillipsburg Library, we're still on, so.
On this coroner one, was there a coroner's jury or something? Was taken out of the coroner's fund?
Yeah, we had a coroner's inquest, was,
Okay,
last, Thursday, yeah, 4 hours, that's when the Barb Cahill was.
so was there, how many jurors were?
There, we had 6 and an alternate, so there's 7, yeah. Had, few witnesses, mainly from the, just law enforcement officers.
And that was for what?
The, suicide was in jail, yeah, there in January,
So that was a suicide?
yeah. The, no, the padded sale was already bid out and awarded, and so it's just, we get done here this summer, but, so county was aware of the issue and was taking care of it.
So did they do elected or registered voters for this list, or?
Yeah, I think it's the district court pool, and yeah, I think they use, driver's license.
Oh, okay.
Voter registration, there's another one they use too. Trying to think. Yeah. You know, some of the people on the list had moved or whatever, but it was a good pool.
These all good?
Unless you say any different.
So yeah, we had the coroner's inquest on Thursday, so the bills came through on that.
Smell my snickerdoodle. Gotta eat it.
Does Butte Produce still deliver, or do they have to go over there? Or is it a,
They do to, I think they still deliver.
it was nice of Rick Lacy to call last night. It was like
Yeah.
9 o'clock. I thought, oh no, you know how you,
Yeah, that's good to hear.
we can go off, Billy, and then that way if somebody comes on and watch for the. Okay, we're back on. I'd entertain a motion to accept the claims.
I make a motion that we accept the April claims for approval.
Sorry.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Is Judge McLean gonna call in today, do you know, or is he going to come in?
He was gonna come in, I think, is what he said, but
Okay.
talked to him on the phone last week. Hopefully he remembered.
How are you folks?
There you go. How's it going?
Good morning,
Good.
how are you?
What do you know?
I've been keeping you in the dark as much as possible.
Mm.
How's Blanche been?
Good, how've you been?
Life is good.
Life is good for us old and weary people.
Still full on winter up at the lake?
You know, we have two seasons in Montana. We have winter and highway construction.
They're starting the highway construction, so.
Well, they got a lot of it between Missoula and here.
Yeah, Highway 1, they're crack sealing, and yeah, they're getting out.
Yeah. They're working on that bridge. And then some other construction on Highway 90.
Yeah, that's right, the Beaver Tail Bridge are working on.
So how long does it take to get to Missoula now? I have to go.
You know, they have you bypass the exit and right straight through, so that's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
That's not bad.
yeah, but they'll be stopped in the other places, I'm sure.
I left Missoula at 9.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
No.
Oh.
You know, some places they have you slow down to 35, but you're going all the time. They have a couple places where you stop, but I do not stop.
Okay.
I made it through the flagman.
You still, hearing a few cases down there? Is,
Yeah,
all
that
right,
case
they're keep-
yesterday.
Okay, they're keeping
Then
it
I go
busy.
to Butte next week.
All right, you're not gonna let you retire.
Uh,
Good deal. Everything, civil and criminal, or you just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yesterday was criminal.
was it, okay.
I prefer civil.
I hear you, yeah.
You get tired of this
True.
criminal. And the guy that I had yesterday has got 1 year to go to get out. And he's his own worst enemy.
You can't
know,
follow through with
And I
anything.
finally said to him, I says, you know, when you're in a hole, you ever hear the saying, quit digging?
He's trying to dig as hard as he can, huh?
Yeah, and the poor guy, if he would just shut up and let his attorney do the work, he'd have been out 4 or 5 years ago.
He just- Oh, wow. Well, I was looking at the jail roster there a couple weeks ago, 320 people in the jail there. It's like,
Wow.
it must be about maxed out, isn't it?
Yeah. And this guy is down in Shelby, and he's been there for 6 or 7 years, and I'm really not so certain that the guy's guilty, you know? But you can't get to anything because he keeps interfering with everything. You can't hear the merits of anything, because he's gonna play lawyer and argue procedural stuff that you never get to.
Oh, wow. The one in Butte, a civil case? Is
Pardon?
it one in Butte, a civil case or criminal?
I got 4 civil cases over there that
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna review.
Oh, wow.
And then I got a meeting with the assistant to the chief executive about, they got a big grant, and what it has to do with their reservoir at Silver Lake and storage rights at Georgetown.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause someone here last week was saying that, yeah, they can't drain Silver Lake below the natural level. I've never heard that. Have you?
Well, he told me that he would do his damnedest to take care of us. And they've got to go through some hoops with the state. But he says, when you come over, we'll have lunch.
What's he
He
talking about?
says, and between you and I, he says, we'll get some water running down Hardwick Creek. He says, but they plan on filling Silver Lake up and sending water down Hardwick Creek, which should answer some questions. But are we open for discussions?
Not on
Here's-
this. Not yet. We still got, we got 10 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Close.
How much charging for gravel?
Well, what I generally charge up there is $12.50 a yard,
Okay.
but for Granite County, I wouldn't charge that.
We're gonna,
Thanks.
Paul's gonna be calling you. I thought I'd bring it up when I was here.
You have a lot crushed up there?
Pardon?
You have a lot crushed up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10,000 yards.
Yeah.
And that's good stuff.
Yeah, you use that gravel to do all of Badger Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've used quite a bit out of there. He's gonna be calling you, I just thought I'd give you a heads up.
They
Needs
need it
like
for
five,
where?
huh?
Where was it? They
Five
need it?
loads or so. 5 loads, 6 loads, something, maybe
10
two.
loads.
10 loads now?
10 loads Echo Lake is what I told him.
Then wasn't he gonna put 2 different spots? This one here.
That was the focal point.
Oh.
Well, you just write down the combination,
He's got it.
Oh, yeah.
2007. You tell him, just help himself and keep track of what he takes.
Okay. You guys good with that?
You trust us?
Farmer's daughter, then nothing better, right?
All right, we're back on. And we're gonna go into the negotiations with Flint Creek Hydro. Judge McLean's here.
Well, here's what I have from Flint Creek Hydro as a proposal. Is they would propose that they bring on Paul Talon to monitor the dam. And during high water, it would have to be monitored 5 days a week. And when the lake goes down, be monitored probably 3 days a week.
Why?
And they will make arrangements to take care of Paul Talon's salary by reimbursing Granite County or sending the money to Granite County to pay for Paul Talon's salary. Secondly, they are considering hiring this high-priced engineer to come in and do an evaluation of the dam. And they're giving that very serious consideration. But they don't want to do that unless Granite County is willing to do it, because it's a pretty expensive proposition.
What kind of evaluation?
The guy would come in, this engineer will come in and evaluate everything on the dam.
Of what we done, or?
Well, what needs to be done.
Don't we have Great West for doing that right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
First
They're
question.
not happy with.
They're not happy. We're
they're not
happy.
Pardon?
We're happy with.
Yeah,
Great West.
you're happy with Great West, but they're not gonna pay for.
They want their own person.
Yeah,
They
and we
will
pay,
have to
and we
pay
still
for their
pay.
own person, for their- No, they will pay if they bring in this person that they say is expensive. But if you want Great West, you pay for Great West. That's their position.
Why? Okay.
No,
fir-
I thought you just said that if they bring in their own engineer, that we'll pay for it too.
No. If they bring in their own engineer, they will pay for that engineer.
Them bringing in their own engineer, what's that got to do with what FERC's telling us what to do?
With what?
FERC telling us what to
It
do.
doesn't have anything to do with Burke County.
Well, why are they wanting, this don't make much sense to me on the negotiation part. And like to have Paul Talon take over the water
Because-
control, that don't work, cause,
Because if they bring in an engineer with the qualifications, that engineer can talk to FERC, where you or I or Hydrodynamics or Granite County cannot talk to FERC.
but we're doing that already, but they just don't like
But
Great West.
they don't like Great West.
That engineer would be the engineer of record on the project then?
That's
You think? Okay, so they'd be the engineer of record and they'd pay for it.
So would that engineer have anything to do with our emergency action plan? They'd take over it instead of Great West?
They'd have to.
Yeah, that's what
They'd have, cause we'd be giving
Do
up
they
every,
know that they'd have to take over that?
that's a lot of money.
It would be all aspects.
All
All
aspects.
aspects of the engineering, I guess that would be the,
Not just that
Question.
they have them, the engineer in
Yeah.
hand. And to have Paul Tellin running the water thing, no. That's just me. Cause I mean, I know what they're looking at, cause we've kept it down and they want more to go through there. Well, that, you know, that's,
They want more to what?
they want more water to go through there. I know that.
the county was keeping it at 6 CFS here to build up the lake level here. And
You know, I don't know under the regulations that you can send any more water through than you're sending.
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, it's gotta be at, in the off irrigation season,
It's
could be the minimum, well, 30 through the irrigation, but non-irrigation, it would be at least 6, or inflows.
Yeah, the only way they could send more through is if there was more water in the lake, you know, coming from Sylvan.
Yeah, inflows.
Well, what's their big deal with hiring Paul Tellin and paying him when they already do it? I mean, the only thing he don't do, he
Well,
has to wait
the-
for us to
the
tell him what
reason-
to do.
Here's their explanation, is you got a bunch of unhappy homeowners up at Georgetown Lake about the monitoring that's been going on.
Who's
And
saying that?
I know.
Who's saying that? That,
Well, I know for a fact that in the last, well, I'll say the last 5 years, that I've had to have Nicely's haul up washed gravel to our place and dump in on my two brothers' place and my place, several dump trucks of gravel on our shoreline, that the water level has come up so high. And haven't the Georgetown Lake homeowners filed suit against Granite County?
No, there was a letter to FERC, and so FERC was looking at the issue of overfilling, and they were basically waiting to see how FERC responded, and FERC hasn't come down with any type of decision yet.
and then FERC reached out to Granite County and said, you have to do this, and we did it, right?
They asked us for information, and we provided.
Yeah. Correct.
Well, here's my reaction to it, Scott, is that I think that Paul Tallon is well known to everybody around up there, and he's a hard-working, I call him young man, you know.
Oh, he's a good guy.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
bashing
yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Tellin.
And
I'm just was
And
curious.
they would cover his salary by reimbursing Granite County and have him monitor the inflow of the dam to where it would never go with the spillway.
So, okay, so what you're saying is we would pay him and they would reimburse us? Is that what you're saying? In other words, they're saying that we get rid of our dam tender and hire Paul, and then they would reimburse us payroll and benefits and mileage and everything?
That's right.
Is that a conflict? Working both sides.
Well, he'd still be subject to the commission. It'd have to be
What? This is a part of the negotiations on to make the dam work? I mean,
it would,
So it's,
there'd be a savings there with the engineer, but your understanding is they would do all that, engineering firm would do all the engineering, would be the engineering of record
That's right.
and be paid by Quick Hydro.
what do we,
okay, so the dam tender, we have to have a dam tender from Granite County. So it wouldn't be, Paul. They couldn't just go ahead and pay Paul. Why would they not just pay him and then we wouldn't have to get reimbursed?
That's what I don't
And that
understand, why
would-
they put them on our payroll.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
they-
there's going to be a
Okay,
county employee is what they were saying. Yeah, they'd be a county employee.
okay, so they're saying that we need to put Paul. And then they're saying they don't like Great West, but they would pay for, an engineer themselves, which would save us money. Is that what you're saying? And that engineer would still have to do our emergency action plan and all this other
Annual-
stuff.
Annual inspection.
And all this, they would pay for. Is that what you're saying? And then that would save the county expenses if that were the case.
One of the issues though, that the county just couldn't terminate its current dam tender. He's an employee. Yeah, it could just, I mean, that would be one of the issues.
So if my understanding is correct, the reason that we hired Great West is because they weren't doing their job.
Correct.
And so we had to hire Great West because they weren't doing their job.
You know, FERC's still gonna hold us responsible.
Right.
Cause it's our
because we're
dam.
the owner.
Yeah,
And-
ultimate
and-
responsibility
and
is with
So
them.
then we're gonna have a conflict between this other company
And FERC and
and
us.
FERC and us. And FERC's gonna say, you're the owner. We're gonna deal with you.
Yeah,
Well,
That's what they've done.
well, this company, Chuck, is gonna deal with FERC, you know, and no matter who is there, you're gonna be responsible to FERC. But this company works with FERC all the time. They're not someone that is gonna tell FERC to go stuff at that. They're gonna get in a contest with FERC.
Yeah, they would just replace Great West.
You know,
and so,
it's a reputable company and
And-
a very expensive company from what I understand. And I don't even know the name of the company.
ultimately, yeah, if there's things he's signed off on, it's just like it'd be as is, except for Great West would be replaced out.
Well, the
Sounds like
worst,
is what they're offering.
worst thing there is, whether they like Great West or not, we got so much invested in them, if we just boot them, and it gives them more control.
Well, I think what your rub is here, Scott, is that you're trying to get some financial assistance from Hydro, right?
correct.
So you want some financial assistance, and I'm trying to get you some financial assistance. And it may require us to bring in another engineering company to do the same job, and Hydro picks up the costs and reimburse Granite County. And if Granite County doesn't want to do that, then Hydro's gonna say, we aren't doing it. And if Hydro doesn't want to hire Paul Talon, then they aren't gonna worry about your dam tender. So you're in the middle of some negotiations here about what can you do to get some money out of Hydro? And I think they've got a very expensive proposition on the table as far as this engineering company. And the engineering company's got to report to FERC and got to be held accountable to FERC. And FERC's going to come in and have the final say no matter who we hire. You know, they're going to come in and say, you do this or else, and
What,
you do it.
what do we spend with Great West now?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
offhand. I know,
What do we
that's kind
do? Well, Great West is doing everything, but they're not saying whether or not this engineer is gonna be doing that action plan. This is a Granite County thing that has to be done because we own the dam.
Yeah.
So
I-
their engineer, are they gonna do this
I understand.
emergency action plan? Is
Plus-
that part of their duties as an engineer being paid for by hydrodynamics? I mean, we'd have to know just exactly,
We
What?
get,
What they're gonna do.
Specifics of the agreement.
once we get the one question answered, if your answer's yes, if, then I go back to hydrodynamics and say, are they gonna cover the action plan?
Well, there's other ones
covered
too.
it.
All
everything-
the engineering, yeah. all the
everything that
engineering.
Great West
The
does.
seismic study, are they gonna pay for that?
What?
The seismic study, that we gotta pay for?
Then that'd have to be that could be the engineer of record, that's gotta be independent, so that'd be a question back to them.
It's just
They
not
would-
taking over the engineer of what they wanna do, it's what we still have on the table to do, right?
That they won't do.
Yeah.
We don't know what that
Yeah.
engineer
Yeah.
will do.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
just
you need
to
that
say,
question answered.
just to say that they wanna hire this high-priced engineer, but what the hell does he do? What all is he gonna do?
So having Paul be the dam tender, I mean, that in itself would be okay, because we'd be saving some money, and we don't know how long Brandon is gonna be, because he's now working for the city.
Yeah.
So that would save Granite County some money, but we'd have to know just what the
And then they,
engineer is willing to do for us at hydrodynamics at their expense.
And you can't just terminate Brandon too,
Yeah.
I mean, he'd have to be.
Right.
plus,
mutual-
you
it'd
know,
to be
Paul's
mutual
gonna have to
consent.
go to all them classes and everything, who pays for that? They'd have to pay for all that.
So that should be the questions back, yeah, who
We
pays?
get reimbursed.
Well, yeah, but still, there's all the,
For Paul Callen to go to classes?
That's a question, yeah.
Well,
Flicker Hydro you think would be willing to reimburse that too?
mhm.
Yeah, I'm not against, I'm not against, having Paul.
no,
But you can't guarantee it's not gonna go over this, so, there's no way. Cause if you have that, you know, say you're 3 inches below,
Yeah,
and you get a big bunch of rain, this thing will over.
There's no way,
yeah,
there's no way you can guarantee that, but you can certainly, when they tell you that water's coming down out of the mountains, you can prevent that, but you can't stop a rainfall or that. There's no way you can prevent
Can-
that.
use the gate valves to a point,
To a
but they
point,
can't, it can't go over the, have to look and see, it's 125 or 100
Mhm.
CFS is what it says.
No, we can anticipate the creek flows and open the gate valves to adjust for that. But there's nothing we can do about Mother Nature and their unloading from the skies.
Maybe what it should be is asking for the specifics in writing then.
What they will cover and
Yeah,
what they won't
what they
cover.
will cover and what they won't cover as far as the engineer and dam.
Well, I think that what we ought to do is have you tell them what you want. And then let them take a pencil to them.
well, they're the ones proposing it. I mean, I just kinda curious on all what.
So what we initially wanted is we need help from hydrodynamics, and they pretty much said the expenses are yours. And now they're saying that they'll pay for an engineer and that they'll reimburse us for
Well,
the dam tender.
let's just start with this, Bridge. Start with Paul Callen, plus any educational requirements that are necessary for a dam. That's 1 and 2 right there. Okay, so then 3, if they hire an engineering company, they're responsible for what plans, 1, 2, and 3. Let's write down those 3 things, and let's just send them back to them.
Cause we got all them tabletops and stuff that, you know, like the DES
Yeah.
person sets up that Great West has to get the stuff, and then, there's like 2 other ones that, yeah.
Well, my advice would be to get it back on the agenda next week so you can think about it more and come up with the list. I don't, yeah, I
So
don't think
could
you
we
should
get
be
them
you're not in
to-
a position today, I don't think, to make a specific offer, but
Yeah.
to get it back on the agenda, that would be my advice, so you can think on it.
What their
Well,
details for an engineer entail, what they are willing to pay. And what we need to do, maybe we still are gonna have to keep our engineer for certain things that. But if we're saving money, understandably, yes. That's the initial thing, because we're paying way too much for what we're receiving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think that Paul Talon's fairly simple.
Oh,
For
absolutely, but we can't just fire someone and
No,
say,
you can't fire him, but it's how we handle that.
Yeah.
But we're agreeable to Paul Talon if we do this and this, and even we can find something else for the other man to do. And we still got Paul Talon covered.
Well, let's put it on the agenda next week and get Brandon in here. He might just say, fine.
well, I don't know if Brandon can be here because he works during the day.
He might be able to call in or something, we can
Yeah.
find out on that,
One of the issues that I see too is in the Great West and the county's position has done a good job, so we don't want to, I mean, it's a Granite County, and so it's, yeah, it's having
and are
to.
we
yeah,
gonna
to
have
work with
access
them as well.
to that engineer due to the fact, like when a call comes into DES and that, are they gonna answer to us, or are they gonna say, no, that's our, you know, that's the whole thing is,
Well, that's,
are we giving up everything for a
that's-
No, you
little
wouldn't
bit?
give up everything.
but Scott, that's contractual matter.
Yeah.
That's,
It could be, yeah,
You
it could be
put that
done.
down.
Should it be done is the question. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more
Than just being,
than just, okay, we'll let you get your own engineer. Okay, we'll do Paul. We need to know,
Yeah, there's some
Yeah,
things that
but
have to be
yeah.
thought through.
but if they bring in their engineer, you know, then we have a contract who the engineer is accountable to.
Conflict. You know, if they're paying the engineer.
Well, the conflict would be
They're not
if-
gonna pay
if,
the engineer.
if Paul
They're-
Talon's an employee of Slink Creek Hydroelectric and the county, that could potentially be a conflict. But if he was just the county,
Yeah. The county's gonna pay Paul Talon, the county's gonna pay the engineer, the county's gonna get paid by hydrodynamics to pay Paul
reimbursed.
Talon. The county's gonna get paid.
so
by
whatever they terminate,
hydrodynamics
they're gonna take
to
it
pay
out.
the engineer. And the contract's gonna be between the county, Paul Talon, the county and the engineer.
so what they're saying is they don't like our engineer, and they want us to get another one,
And they'll pay
and
for
they'll
that.
pay for it.
That's right.
What reasons? They should at least give us some reasons why they don't like Great West.
Well,
They're very reputable.
in the negotiations, they are pretty blunt about saying that the county is doing things that aren't required by FERC or could be exempted, but we've disagreed with that because they'll give us a
They-
year of variance on things, extension, but to get out of these requirements, it's
They-
impossible.
They just flat say that you're getting taken to the cleaners. You're getting taken to the cleaners. You're doing things that you don't need to do. Now,
Well, maybe they
I'm-
should list the things
I'm
that.
not taking
yeah,
sides
no,
here, Blanche.
Right.
I'm just telling you what their position is.
They want their own engineer, we pay for it, they'll reimburse what they feel they're gonna.
They'd have done their
reimburse.
job, this would never have gotten to this far.
Hmm?
If they'd have done what they were supposed to, we wouldn't have had to have this, and then they're pissed because Great West stood up to them.
Okay, so, there you go.
But yeah, I would prefer you to have it back on the agenda so you can think through the response.
His
and-
Drummond blood is.
No, I think we just gotta think through the issues versus, I mean, a quick response, and say you agree to it with these conditions today, I think that's too quick myself. I mean, I'm not encouraging you to wait on it, but,
Well, this is something they say, and this is something that we check with FERC. They say Great West is doing stuff they don't need to do. And FERC is telling us we need to do it, but we don't have to do it because they say so.
So are they gonna be able to tell FERC that we
Yeah, are they
don't
gonna
need to
tell
do
FERC
it?
we don't have to do this?
First is gonna say, yeah, but you're the owner.
Yeah,
The-
you have. to
the
do it.
seismic studies, these other studies, we requested the variance and didn't get it. They gave us a time extension, but
Yeah,
the,
this
if
is,
the bill comes due,
yeah.
What they're saying is that Great Western comes in and says you gotta do this now, where FERC would say you have to do this, but it doesn't have to be right now. This can be done now, this can be done in the future.
they've given us.
I'm just telling you what their position is.
They've given us a year, like on the seismic study, they gave us a year, but that was the most your extension was the most they gave.
Well, even on fixing some of that stuff, we've asked Great West and they've asked and we've got extensions, not, to wait to fix it. It's
Yeah.
not like Great West is jumping right on board and saying, yeah, you have time, and then like to get them grants, just, the DNRC grants and all that, they'd have to do all that.
The year extension helps in the fact that then your royalties come in and you're able to save up and pay for it that time. So that is a good plan to try to stagger what's due, but it's always gonna come
Yeah.
due.
Yeah.
So here's my take on this, is apparently they've got a grudge against Great West and they don't feel that Great West is doing us good business because we're doing things that they say we don't have to do immediately. Well, Great West gets where we have a year to do this. They apply for it, right? They go through
Yeah.
FERC and bring it back to us.
If you agree to this deal, it shouldn't be because you think Great West has
Right,
done anything wrong.
Right.
I don't
right.
agree with that,
They
but
haven't.
they offer to have it, engineering services paid, that's
Yeah.
potentially a
Absolutely.
reason.
Because they don't like our engineer. They want their own. That's not fair.
No, I
Cause
don't,
then they can dictate.
I don't know that they're saying they want their engineer, because this engineering company, they have not contacted yet. They just know that it's damn expensive to bring them in and that they'll pay for it. I agree with your previous statements about Great Western and their feelings about Great Western, that's how they feel about Great Western. They've got a grudge against Great Western. Whether it's justified or not, I have no idea, Blanche. But this other engineering company, now I'm talking to Matt Williams about this. He says, I would talk to Roger and recommend that Roger hire this engineering company. It would be expensive, but it would be worth it to have them come in and you have an objective third party and they're not beholden to either one of us. He says, but I think that the engineer that Granite County is listening to is taking them for a ride. Now, that's their attorney speaking, and that's not Roger.
I don't think it's fair to say that about.
No,
Great
but
West.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's fair or it's unfair, Scott. That's their attorney speaking. And when he's speaking that way, you can bet that Hydrodynamics is gonna be listening to them real carefully. And Scott's a pretty good attorney, you know, and he's been representing Hydrodynamics for quite a while.
Or Matt Williams?
Yeah.
Matt Williams,
Not me.
Matt's proud.
yeah. Oh, he's a good, he's a good water law attorney. I agree with you that. As far as, his, assessments on Great West, I disagree with, but we'll have to agree to
Well,
disagree on that.
yeah, and I don't blame you there either, but the thing is that it's gonna cost both of you a terrific amount of money to go to arbitration on this. It's gonna cost you enough money to pay your mediator.
Do we have to pay him?
Ah. Enough that to buy a few truckloads of gravel.
Barter.
Barter. So you want it on the agenda next week to have Brandon here and
If we can
Jeremiah
do
could
that.
be on and
Yeah,
Yeah, and then it gives us a little time, we can get some more information and that, and then they can actually, I mean, their lawyers saying to hire this engineer, but they haven't even talked to him, he's so spendy, but what is he gonna actually do? And does he realize what he's gotta do?
Well, and I need a list from you as to what you want
The
Matt
expectation.
Williams to tell the engineer that is expected of him.
Well, I guess we can get Billy to look up everything that we have Great West do for the dam, I mean, there's all these tabletops, everything else, and all the,
annual inspection.
gotta deal with Dowell.
Chuck will probably want us to throw in the East Fork Reservoir out there.
Just Georgetown, just Georgetown.
okay.
So like 11 a.m.
Next
next
week.
week? Is that, you could call in or Zoom in. You Zoom?
I don't do that.
Well, I
The
guess
the
that's-
county commission even Zooms now.
I don't have a clue how to do that.
Well, I guess that's what we'll do. We'll put it on for the agenda next week, and then we can talk to Billy, and Billy can talk to Jackie too, and find out what all the
Has our contract, and it tells in the contract
Mhm.
exactly what they do for us.
because we
It
always
isn't
are
something
asking
that
them.
Billy has to go in and try to find.
So
But-
it's gonna change year over
Yeah,
year.
you know,
depending
the-
on what's required.
You know, they do those 5-year inspections and then things come from that. So they have added duties on that.
Yeah.
And so it'd basically be
On-site.
any engineering, engineer of record or anything as needed.
On-site visits and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I mean, it's not just, they're not just a company sitting in a building.
So two weeks, you think, or?
I'd give it 2 weeks.
Alright, 2
Yeah, we
weeks.
can't pile all of it on.
2
till-
weeks? At 11, 2 weeks at 11 a.m.
Okay, Billy, could you make a note? And could you, do you want me to have Paul tell him?
Well, I think we need to know exactly what they're wanting to do for us that will reimburse us for, because they don't want Great West.
They'll reimburse you for everything that Paul Cullen costs.
Right.
But the thing about it, Paul Talon's gotta remember that there's two sides to this. It's just not about the homeowners up there and you guys losing your banks and that.
Paul
You've got
Talon's
people down
job-
here.
Paul Cullen's job is to watch the lake level and
I know, but he's gotta realize
I-
that too.
I think it'd be a
Well,
conflict for him to work for Flinker Hydroelectric and the county.
well,
That'd
he's
be-
not gonna work for
Okay,
them.
all right, okay,
He's
I-
gonna work for Granite
okay,
County.
all right.
So I think that we should make arrangements to have Paul here.
Okay.
Still gonna run the dam.
Oh, he couldn't, under that scenario, he couldn't do the, couldn't do the hydroelectric.
Regulating the level of the lake.
Yeah, couldn't do the turbines. Yeah, couldn't do the.
But it still would have to come through us for what they wanna do though. See, that's the thing. They're trying to take away the whole thing that he would just dictate and take care of all the water. We'd have no say on what we want it at or where it's going.
Oh, he'd have to be an employee of the counties solely.
And he'd have to take the
He's still gonna run
obligation.
the turbine, isn't it?
Well, that, I think that would be a conflict. To work for the county and Flicker Hydro, I think that would be, that'd be,
He's not gonna give up.
so that's something we'd have to talk to him about. So having him here
Yeah.
would be, yeah.
Okay.
So 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Yeah, we're gonna move on.
What did you want me to make a note of?
Well, here's what I've got. You take a look at that.
So the, this is from Matt Williams.
And that's from Ed McLean.
Oh, that's, okay. You want me to just read this so it could be,
Yeah.
Recorded?
Read it, and then if
the
you have anything to add, those man.
discussion about Georgetown, this is from Ed McLean. Discussion about Georgetown Lake Dam and Paul Talon being the day-to-day caretaker of the dam. Certain questions that need answered. What training would Paul need to receive? Who would pay his salary? What would his salary be? Exactly how many hours per week would he be expected to work? Could his work be divided between the dam and the hydro projects? I think the answer to 5 is the answer that he
You couldn't,
couldn't be an employee of both Flicker Hydro and the
That
county. I think it's
that
true.
question has been answered.
Yeah,
He's gotta be a Granite County employee.
and then this, the same questions would be, similar for the engineer. What would, what would the engineer do, and who would pay their salary?
So can I see your pen?
Yes.
Can I add one clarifying question? Would there be an option to have it as a salaried, I guess this would be based on hours per week, would it be a salaried position with benefits, or would it be a contract position, or is that an option?
I don't think that it's salaried, but it isn't a full-time position, so there wouldn't be certain benefits allowable.
That's what
If he was a contract, you'd have to have a exemption, an independent contractor exemption, have insurance.
Day to day.
And here's the problem, Blanche, is you're gonna start out in this weather, spring, and you're gonna have 5-day-a-week monitoring. And then you're gonna get in July, and it's gonna be 3 days a week. So you might want it to be an hourly rather than a monthly, but
Well, we pay by the month and there's only, you'd have to work, be at least half-time for like benefits for like health insurance and our dam tender now doesn't get health insurance through the county and they don't pay for retirement through the county.
I mean, how you want it.
I agree with you. It'd be better as an employee, hourly employee, paid
Right.
by the month, but something that could be discussed.
Well, is this gonna,
That's dependent upon. hours.
so to come down to the basis is hiring their engineer and paying them, is this gonna make us lots of money, so we don't have to worry about nothing again?
We just need to
Or
get
are we
by.
still just giving away something?
We just need to save some expenditures. But like if we're paying all benefits for a dam tender, then that's certainly gonna cost us a whole lot more. Because we don't have one that works full-time during the week.
Exactly.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
all these things you have to look at.
I don't think he's gonna give up the turbine to do this. They want to do both.
It's something that you have to, yeah. So having him come in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Talk about it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we better move on because we're in the
Sheriff's here.
southwest, yeah. The
So you're
sheriff.
throwing down.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming. Need that?
Don't let the door in.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Two.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 11? Thanks, Jed.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
That's what.
Yes, 31st at 11.
Let's do.
If you would like a cookie too, the
Like a
library
snickerdoodle?
should brought cookies.
That one I live. Oh, what's this over the now?
Yeah.
She brought some
No, it's not a lawsuit.
They're very
Thank you.
Want a snickerdoodle?
It's good seeing you.
You too.
Yeah, that's to soften them up, do my cooking.
Yep.
How are you?
Not too bad, how are you?
Oh, your coffee cup.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, no.
Yep.
That's essential.
Good seeing you folks.
Good to see you.
How are you?
How's it going?
Good.
You want to sit here closer?
All right, so we're in the Southwest Drug Task Force MOU discussion decision. Scott, go ahead.
I attached the MOU. You guys all got that, right?
Yeah.
And I think I talked about this last year, how the Southwest Task Force is, it's multiple jurisdictions, Jefferson, Beaverhead, Silver Bow, Granite, Deer Lodge, Powell, I think Dillon, PD's in it. It's a multiple jurisdiction, effort to like cut off the head of the snake when it comes to, so to speak, when it comes to drugs. The Southwest Task Force, I don't know how many big busts they've had lately, but they got up to like 20 federal indictments pending right now on stuff that primarily is coming into Butte. But I will say that the stuff coming into Butte is coming into Granite County as well, and Anaconda and stuff like that. So it's a good thing. The MOU with it's agents that are deputies actually. They take a pool. We don't contribute any deputies towards the Southwest Task Force, but like Jefferson County does, Beaverhead County. They have actual deputies working part-time as a deputy, but they're an agent for the state too. Is kind of a messed up thing, but it is county deputies doing this undercover work on drug deals.
So Scott, is this something that we get reimbursed from if you actually go on doing something that pertains to this? That do we request a reimbursement from the
No,
task
but we have to
force?
pay
Or
$4,000 a year.
so we pay
for
$4,000?
the participating agency, yeah, because the grants that we apply for aren't enough to self-sustain the task force. I really honestly believe if it wasn't for the task force, it would just be going unchecked in multi-jurisdictions because, I don't talk a lot of drug cases with like Beaverhead County or even Ed Lester and Butte. You have to know all the details behind the scenes of what goes on to see that this is a pretty effective thing. I always whine that there's not enough stuff going on here, but I mean, as far as drug undercover work and stuff like that, but it is a good thing to be a part of. We have to pay for this task force. We are a member of the Southwest Central Task Force in Missoula as well. We're not even paying to participate in that task force. So, and they deal with a lot of the same folks we do on the north end of the county on their Missoula area.
So like right now, it's in the general fund, the task force, and we put 4,000 in every year.
Yes.
Okay.
We contribute 4,000 to county. I think most counties are doing 10, and I know like Anaconda Deer Lodge dropped out. That was Chief Barkell, though he had in our jurisdiction, and the regional agent in charge hears that from me all the time. But I do know that they're cutting off the bigger supplies of stuff coming in, and that's a good thing.
So you're all in favor of this?
I am.
Yeah, I concur. I agree with you.
I just need the signature page. If I could take that today, that'd be great.
We'll just make
I'll
a,
make a motion to they end the task force.
Approve the MOU.
Approve the MOU.
Yeah, you might want to read in there, like forfeitures and stuff like that becomes part of that task force. The county, Granite County doesn't get that stuff. It goes to the task force, and that's okay because it's a team of sheriffs and chiefs. That's a lot of pull to have that many.
That's
Fentanyl
all.
coming
Yeah.
in to eat now,
What's that?
fentanyl coming in to
Yeah.
eat.
Rampant. It's everywhere. Bags of the stuff.
Just out of hand.
Yep. And there, most of the people we deal with that we interview, that we charge with a drug crime or whatever, we got one in the jail right now, they're telling us that they're going different jurisdictions. I don't totally buy that, but to buy the stuff, fentanyl and meth, stuff like that, so.
So I have a question. I did reach out to Jeff Green, and he said that Granite County has yet to submit for any reimbursements, and hopefully that's a good thing. What does he mean by that?
Jeff Green.
Jeff Green, who is the SWRJD.
I'm not sure who that is. We don't get reimbursed from the Southwest Task Force.
Is that for the juvenile detention center stuff?
Is that the juvenile? Is an SWRJD? And so what's this?
Sounds
The
like-
DUI
Task Force-
DUI task
No,
force.
this is the Southwest Drug Task Force. Yeah,
Southwest Drug Task Force is what we're talking.
we haven't had
Never mind.
any,
I'm
we have,
not sure what you're talking
yeah.
about there.
we've not had
I
any
know it's
juveniles
fine,
in, detention here in the last fiscal year, so that's
No,
maybe,
yeah.
yeah.
Their acronyms are confusing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The other one's a juvenile.
So, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Or
Aye.
Public comment, sorry. No public comment. All in favor? Aye. So, do I sign here, Billy, on this page or down here? I did the first one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
sign everywhere.
Here.
Yep, there, you'll sign, and down there, yeah, both spots, just that one signature page, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, and then that's the next one for the
Is there
DUI.
another one?
That one's not for the MOU, that one's for the DUI. Today is the 17th, yes,
The 16th.
it's the 17th.
17th. I'm
17th.
sorry. Excuse
You want me
me.
to have a big copy?
I wouldn't.
I need a copy.
Took 16th instead
File
of
this,
17th.
I have it on file.
That's fine.
And then I have your DUI thing on here, or your, yeah, DUI task force.
Yeah.
Just for you thing on here. That's what they just sent.
Oh,
You wanna jump right into that one then? Scott? DUI Task Force, Physical Operating Plan, Discussion Decision. It's in the packet too.
Well, that's just for our, that's all attached, and I don't know, I don't think I got last year's numbers in that plan, but moving forward, that's basically what our plan is gonna be for the DUI task force.
Do you have the,
You just
Oh.
signed it.
oh, I thought that was the
Basically
other.
the same as
Oh.
last year, quite frankly.
I just need a motion to approve the plan.
So this is for fiscal 23. How do we get those funds? Does Granite County?
Yeah, it's reinstatement fees that's paid to the state of Montana for driver's licenses. I think the county gets, it's a $200 fee and the county gets 100 back. Our last deposit was $500, I think. And we use that money to bring in talk speakers at the school and DUI patrols for deputies. That's primarily how we use that, education and
Mhm.
prevention.
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol. It's a pretty good deal. The last talk they did up at the school, I think, was pretty effective with some of the kids about seatbelt use and not driving impaired, stuff like that, so.
The Speaker's been good. My kids have been talking about it.
I'll move to approve the DUI task force.
Would this be something that we would approve the budget during the budget approval, or are we approving to have a budget?
I would just call this the
This
plan and the budget.
operating plan,
Okay,
The budget would be later on.
Yeah.
It says operating plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Operating plan.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried pass.
While we're on that subject, I think I sent Billy an email with Dwayne Ulrich, he's on the DUI task force. And I've spoke with him, he didn't give us anything in writing, but he's not coming back to Phillipsburg, so they're gonna need to appoint. It
I'll,
should be on next week's agenda maybe.
yeah, I'm gonna put it on next week. I can advertise it if you would like.
That's fine.
Say that again, Billy.
I can advertise it if you would like.
I think you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just, I think you can just wait until they decide next week and then can do it then, because there's, our next meeting in September, that works.
I just thought I'd put
Yeah.
that on here. So.
Just in case he changes his mind.
Well, just so it's on the agenda first, that's all.
One other quick thing, I plan on next month getting on the agenda for the sheriff's budget. Is there any particular time you guys would like to meet on that? What works better for you? Or should
Morning.
I mean, June work though, anytime in June.
Have you gotten your budgets yet?
No,
And I wait till you get your budgets, then schedule.
I'll get on the agenda when I get them. There's, yeah, I got a little bit of time on that stuff, so.
It's the,
Cause they should start going out, and usually in a normal budget period, we'd want the budgets back by the 15th of June, so Sarah right now should be preparing them to get them sent out for the.
Well, what I'm trying to avoid is I've come in and talked about my budgets before, and then you guys want to meet again. I just want to have one meeting to discuss with you guys kind of what I foresee coming at us and stuff like, obviously the price of fuel is one of them, but there's other things as well. So our calls for service have doubled since 2019. Literally doubled.
Oh, yeah.
And then unfortunately, some more things, major things that we've been investigating that are very time consuming. But we'll talk more about that after you're on the agenda.
the compensation board's meeting in June,
June.
June.
I don't have an exact date yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna start putting that together soon.
All righty. Well, thank you very much and good
You're
job.
welcome. Thanks, Scott. What do you guys got next?
Credit card thing.
Oh, I must.
Oh, you might as well stick with it.
Harry, I'll throw that at you. All right, we're moving right into the Granite County credit card policy discussion and decision. We have you want this to look?
Okay, there's one paragraph in here that was added to this that you have on the credit card policy, and that's the highlighted paragraphs where it says elected county commissioners are subject to meals, lodging, and travel expenses stipulating from MCA 218501. I don't think it's completely designated elected county commissioners. I think it's elected officials and county employees
Where you
are
seeing
under
this?
this. It's not just the commissioners. I mean, I don't think you should have, you see where it says elected county commissioners are subject to the meals, lodging, and traveling expenses. We all are subject to it.
Are you talking about the personnel manual?
No, I'm talking about the verbiage, putting elected county commissioners instead of putting elected officials and county employees.
Oh,
That came from the personnel manual.
That what?
That came from the personnel manual.
This right here?
Yeah.
Mhm. This is what you.
Well, it's wrong,
Sorry, I'm looking for it.
is what I'm saying. This is one thing that we missed, because you're stipulating just the county commissioners are under this and no one else is.
The also contemplates a policy, so I think having the separate policy will clarify it. That's what I encourage you to do, to modify the
Yeah,
March 2020 credit card policy.
what I'm saying is we're adding this to the credit card policy, correct?
I have no idea. This was just in our employee.
Oh, I'm
personnel
just commenting on this
So-
paragraph.
So that's in the
Whether-
personnel manual, but the policy that we amend can clarify all that.
So this needs, what I'm suggesting on this paragraph is that elected county commissioners are not the only ones that are subject to it. It should be elected officials and county employees in this paragraph right here.
Well, my advice would be not to amend the personnel manual, but just amend the
No.
policy to cover.
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
Okay, all right.
She said she got this out. I'm saying in this,
Well, I think she just
Policy.
wanted us to see it, and make sure that we knew what was in there.
I'm just saying in this credit card policy, it shouldn't be elected county commissioners are subject, it should be elected officials and county employees are subject to meals. I mean, if we're gonna put this in credit cards and travel expenses,
I don't think I don't think the plan was to put that language
Oh, no,
into
not
the
at all. I
policy.
well, why was it in there then?
Because I found it in the book when I was looking up.
Well, see,
something else, and I just
when
gave
I'm
it to
looking
you
at
guys.
it, it looks like this is what you wanted it to change to.
No.
highlighted
She
all
don't make the
this.
change, she's
I
just
know,
giving
I
us
don't
a
make
knowledge of
anything.
what.
Well, I
was-
know you don't.
I was just providing you guys the policy because I found it in the
Well-
personnel manual.
Okay, so it didn't really specify that the highlighted, what we have in this policy that I highlighted is just something for you guys to discuss.
In the email I sent you guys, though, I put credit card policy from policy and procedure manual.
I know it, and this paragraph is in there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I thought,
It's just the one from the policy and procedure manual. I was just providing it to you guys. 'cause you
Well,
were-
yeah, and I'm just saying that shouldn't be in there, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So,
I just.
I agree.
I mean,
Agree. I think the policy should be all officials, employees, and so you want to look at the March 2021 to amend that? Is that the plan?
March of 2020
That policy?
is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
So these highlighted things, do we even need them in there?
I don't think
Travel
so.
expenses has nothing to do with credit cards.
I just have a question on this. Policy manual says credit cards only authorized persons. So does that include all employees or just?
No.
elected officials?
It's what's going to be in the separate policy.
So what
We'll amend
personnel
that.
manual, is
Yeah.
that the old one?
None of the new ones.
That's what it says in the new one.
Yeah. So we have the separate policy, though, basically add clarification to that. And then we have the policy in place, but wanted to make a few, I think, changes to it to clarify what's actually being done. Like the last paragraph talks about the commission's executive assistant. I think you wanted potentially clerk and recorder there, wasn't it?
What paragraph is that on? Oh,
The
okay.
bottom paragraph.
Bottom.
Can I just give you something from my perspective? Because the sheriff's office doesn't have a credit card, and I understand that, people running willy-nilly with a credit card, I understand that concern for starters. When we need to reserve rooms for training for coroner conference or as sheriffs and peace officers or whatever, we don't have a credit card, so we call the clerk and recorder, they send an authorization to use credit card, and then Becky helps them if that fills it out. There has been times when Val's purchased a couple things for the jail that our vendors don't supply, so we can't do it by claim. I told my staff, I prefer everything is done by claim when practical, because it's a better paper trail. I know there's emails back and forth when we're using their credit card, and that's a paper trail as well. But I just have that concern over primarily Val, and I told the gals over there, there is to not be any charges on that credit card unless I authorize them to purchase like the TV screen that we needed, for example, and the stand.
So, and you could only get that online?
Yeah, I didn't do all the research on it, Blanche, but that's what Val was telling me.
What we're saying here and what the problem was is the credit cards, they're using it and then we don't know anything about it until the bill's already here and we have to pay that. And so if we don't have a clue,
I understand. that.
because it's the commissioners are the ones that are supposed to say, okay, on
I
the
wouldn't want to
budget.
authorize something I didn't know anything about either. I understand the concern. That's why I told them, I don't want you using the county credit card unless I authorize the purchase, or, if it's for training, great, but there's times it puts us in a bind because we can't purchase what we need to, what we. really need.
Right. That's understandable, but we need to know. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Do you want, moving forward, do you want to have me have Val include the commissioners in an email that she's doing with Becky? Just copy you guys in that email if we use that card?
And that's what,
Or the sheriff's office get their own card, or whatever works.
that's the main reason
Yeah.
for this,
And
correct?
To me, I think the sheriff should be different than other employees. I mean, I don't
Do
think
you
you
feel,
need the commission's approval there if you're monitoring, is my
Yeah.
thought.
No, if you're
I
monitoring,
agree.
that's-
We're not telling you what to do.
Yeah, if we need something, I'm not just gonna buy stuff just because I can.
Never have.
We need it, no.
no, and this isn't micromanaging, all this is doing
I
is
understand
because
your concern.
when that
I'm
claim
the
comes
one that
in,
said the micromanaging. I'm the one that said.
well, that's what I'm
micromanaging.
telling you, it isn't
It
micromanaging.
feels like it to me.
Well,
Okay.
it doesn't to me, okay?
Well, okay, you got your opinion just as well as I do.
Absolutely,
All
you
right.
don't have to get hot about it,
I can if I want.
okay, professional.
Scott, I'm just saying, I understand Blanche's concern because if there's a charge over at the jail that I'm not aware of and it comes at me, I just don't like being caught off guard by that, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think you need a separate credit card for the
I
sheriff's
don't
office?
think so, as long as the commissioners are okay with us using what's in place, I'm fine with that. I really don't want a credit card.
I mean, if that works for you, that's
It
great,
does work.
because
But
you're
I'm trying to
notifying,
think how to include you guys in the communications that, hey, the sheriff reserved a room corner conference on their credit card. You know, it just makes it a lot easier to reserve rooms and training if we have that number. We can still do it by claims, you know.
and
but
so
it
as
just
far
is-
as micromanaging, it's up to the commissioners to micromanage the bills anyway, Scott. That's what we approve the claims. Anyway, that's,
So do you have, any more changes for the policy, the written policy?
so do we don't even need do we need the travel expenses in there? I
That's
mean,
just in the policy and procedure.
because this is something that the credit card isn't going to be sitting out there for anybody just to grab and use. If your supervisor can make the arrangements and get it through, if you need to use the credit card, if they don't want to use their own credit card, I guess they would call the clerk and recorder's office.
So the March 22 policy says that they'll be, the purchases will be pre-approved.
And before, I think Mike did it, but I don't think it's Billy's responsibility to have to do it.
So the last paragraph, putting clerk and recorder instead
Yeah.
of assistant. Any other changes you'd like to see to it? That March 2020 policy or?
No, I think we need to elaborate on the fact that up until now, they've been just using it and not even, we don't see it until the bill is here. And like, I understand with you, Sheriff, that you look at them, so that's good, we know that.
Yeah,
And you come through here to use it anyway, so that's even better.
Last week you talked about potentially a dollar amount, or you just want to see any use of it pre-approved?
I don't know if we'd go dollar amount. I don't think it should be used just for canned pop or something, you know.
Yeah, I like it, if it's practical to do the claims, doing it through that. That could be a paragraph, if it's practical to do it through the claim process, regular claim process, do it that way, but if
Yeah.
not practicable, then use credit card pre-approved. something
So
like that.
take out the spending limit. And
Let's see,
each employee must know the authorized spending limit.
well, that's just talking about the maximum on the credit card.
Oh,
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it could be on
what they can buy.
what the,
without-
I don't know if you want to specify what that dollar amount is, or just have everything be pre-approved.
I don't know if you could put a dollar amount in there. I think what our main goal here is just to get it pre-approved. Isn't it? So that we kind of know what's going on
Yeah.
and the clerk and recorder's office knows. And if they feel they have to get a hold of the commission, get a hold of the chairman and say, hey, if it's something that looks fishy to them is all. I mean,
Yeah.
just a little more micromanaging, if you will.
So, do you want me to add a paragraph saying we use the, employee will use the regular claim process? If practical, if not practical, then,
Pre-approved.
then pre-approved, purchase on the credit card. All right. Any other changes you'd like to see to it?
So you're good without your own credit card, it works good for you,
I am.
okay, good.
All right, so have this back on next week.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put it on this. I was just reading this. All right, we'll put it on for next week.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you,
guys do
Sheriff.
that. Take care.
Jeremiah emailed me earlier and he said you're a slave driver, Scott, for making everybody work through lunch.
What's that?
Jeremiah emailed me earlier and said you're a slave driver for making everyone work through lunch.
See you, have a good day.
Yeah, I'll see you.
So looking at this, Blaine, would this be something, just a question on, Great West is doing this for us and they got grant money to do this for us. And so this wouldn't be anything that hydrodynamics would have any part in, correct?
Yeah, right now, no,
Yeah,
it's
I
all
mean,
through
I'm
the,
just-
all through
this
the
is-
county, but if it's, even then, he's talking about an engineer, that, a different engineer retain, and then they would, the county would send it to Flinker Hydro for reimbursement. So even under that scenario, they couldn't tell you, you know, specifically how to do that, other than, I guess it depends on what the contract would say. it just, yeah.
Jeremiah on, yeah.
Yep.
Should have had him listening in when, was he in,
No, he wasn't on
He
earlier.
wasn't on earlier.
listening in to
I'll tell him about 2 weeks.
Judge McLean?
That caught me off guard because I thought they were done even presenting anything, but
Yeah, well,
I don't, you know,
I don't think it's gonna work. The town, they're not gonna give up the turbines. I mean, they wanna do both.
mhm.
yeah. Good point.
All right, it's 12:10. We'll go ahead into the task order number 5, Flint Creek Dam Concrete Outlet Structure Investigation Technical Narrative. Nothing yet.
It's gonna cost a bunch of money.
We have a grant for it.
Hmm?
We have the grant for it.
It's paid for.
This is, not what they find.
Yeah,
No,
I
this
think
is
it's
just the
hoping
start
to
of
push
a-
it
yeah.
out.
This is just the start of the money rolling, because if they're going back down after them rock stuff, and there was some cracks
Yeah.
before that we patched, so now they'll probably come back and involved in what we're doing, should do. I mean, we
The
had
other engineering firm
opportunities,
is gonna cost just as much or more.
we had opportunities to
they
say
pay for it.
no too, but I mean, if you don't keep it up to spec, where would we be now? We would be in compliance
Oh,
with the
yeah.
dam.
Yeah, you don't wanna
And that's what gets me is
be
you're
crossways with FERC.
giving up a whole bunch, and we've done this before when they were gonna take care of everything that never got done, and that's where we're at.
Did you say, I didn't hear.
I said that this would happen before when they were supposed to be doing them MOE, all that, and it never got done.
Yeah.
And then they tried to use the excuse with that first lady that, no, we didn't have to. Well,
Well, and that wasn't contractually required, but they said they would do it and it wasn't getting done, so,
Katie,
yeah, what do you,
I got
yeah.
all the papers in
Yeah.
and they put,
yeah, I agree. It wasn't saying that, Ben Singer's work, they didn't contract to do that, but they agreed to do it and then it wasn't getting done.
So this is a study for task order number 5 that we have to do, correct?
correct.
So this is gonna tell us,
Cause it's in that, some of that day thing that, they looked at stuff, and so now we gotta start looking at what they've acknowledged and seen, otherwise then we're out of compliance.
Yeah, this is our response part
Yeah.
about the inspection.
Yeah,
Mhm.
This
it's,
is our action.
They have to find something,
and it's money to do it, so.
and that's what.
If he doesn't get on, I encourage you still to pass it because we've got the grant money. They're gonna use that grant money to do the planning.
No, I think it's a good deal. It's,
Well, we have to do it.
Maybe, let me clarify. it.
It's just gonna cost us.
Maybe he said if you have questions, call him.
So if action items can be staggered, all the better. to Save for it and be able to do it, save for it and be able to do it.
No problem. He said call if you have questions. I think he was gonna just jump on.
guess we don't have any questions.
no, I think it's just an entertain a motion to pass it. I mean, it's something we have to, we got the grant for it, and then now it just opens up to what we're gonna have to do.
What you do,
I'll move to pass order Number 6, and number 5, Flint Creek Dam, concrete outlet pressure, investigation and technical narrative.
I'll second it.
Any public comment on this? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion been carried and passed. Yeah, I mean, this is just some of that, but now we're gonna have to, they're gonna go look and we'll have to hire somebody to go look and see, and usually they're the ones that go do that. That's what I'm wondering about this next engineering thing. Do they have extra people that are gonna go out and do the work? Cause there's a lot on hand, or on foot that Great West does, and I don't think they've taken advantage of us.
You know, Great West is pretty handy too. I mean, they can just whip over here and all. Where's this other company at?
I trust Jeremiah Faze and
Bill Lloyd, all of them have
Yeah,
been good. They've
yeah.
came and they've worked with us on stuff, and I think they're really good outfit. We got so much, we do have a bunch of money invested in them, but we had to. At least now they have the knowledge of the dam, and this next person starting over. I'd entertain a motion that we're done for today.
You got it?
You go right ahead and entertain the motion.